So about the MC Shonen template, MCs in Shonen usually go by a very tried and true method, inspired by Dragon Ball mostly, being the grandfather of all Shonen. The Shonen template is like vanilla. It's something you can expect to get the same taste out of, no matter what type of brand you're getting it from. It's a pretty simple premise to follow and build your own MC, with the main character usually being from a low-income upbringing, either adopted, fatherless, or even abused if you're feeling creative. Just make them grow up in a pretty shitty environment, make their lives feel pretty terrible all around, so you start to feel bad for them and shit. Then at the start of your series, throw them into a fight or flight type of situation, and since no one's trying to have some bitchy MC, of course they're gonna fight, which is when they start fighting and realize that they're the chosen one in some way, either being the descendant of some important person, or maybe even having a demon inside their stomach, something that makes it turn out that they're meant for some greater purpose in their world, being the morally correct people of the story, correcting everybody else that doesn't agree with them, throwing them into this huge fantasy, taking down villains and all the other typical stuff. Then the rest is history. Every shonen has taken from this template in at least some way, for a very long time. Not every shonen follows it to a T though. It will start to feel boring a lot quicker if every MC was exactly like each other. Ever since the Dragon Ball era, as I said, well at least every battle shonen. I don't keep track of all the non-battle shonens, so there probably is a few that aren't like that. But we know what we're talking about when we say shonen MCs. The power of friendship secretly gifted protagonist, and there's really nothing wrong with that. It's been working for the past couple of generations, each putting a slight spin or twist on it, but overall, you could say that at their core they're all the same. As time has gone on though, you could see that modern shonen authors are trying to move away from that template. It's not an immediate change, but authors are starting to run out of ways to put their own spin on this template, so instead they just don't use it at all, and come up with their own characters. The oldest shonen MC I've seen really try to not follow this traditional template is probably Gon. He ends up being the most realistically type of good character, which is rare to find. Gon doesn't have any problems doing fucked up shit if it aligns with what he's trying to do. If Pito pulled that shit with the blind girl with any other MC, it would have been a way easier negotiation, but Gon's mentality didn't catch on with other shonens until way later. I mean, there was Attack on Titan I guess, but I don't think any other shonen started to catch on to it, not until the more modern shonen manga started to pop up. Demon Slayer is the first manga to really use the template, but somehow make it feel different. Tanjiro still acts nice to the demons he kills and all that, just like most other shonen MCs. They have a whole inner monologue and backstory for majority of the demons he kills, but the way it's done with Tanjiro somehow feels different. It feels a lot more refreshing and genuine with the way it's done. So I guess it shows that the shonen template isn't completely dead, but it's becoming a lot more harder to make it viable, because if your MC has more than a couple of these traits, you're gonna get called out for it. What I think is gonna end up happening is that the shonen magazine is gonna end up going through a cycle, where it goes from having most characters follow the current template we have now, and since it's starting to be overdone, slowly switches over to a new style of MC. Then once that starts to feel a little bit boring, it switched again to another style of main character. Right now we're just starting to get into this new age of shonen MCs I think, and one of the main mangas I want to highlight that prove this is Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man is probably going to end up as the next Attack on Titan, once it gets animated, as in it will just end up breaking that popularity barrier, and just everybody watches it. Right now it's already very popular and known in the general anime community, but a pretty big chunk of fans don't read manga, so once it becomes an anime, it's easily gonna grow exponentially in popularity, and that's mainly because it's really nothing comparable to any other shonens out right now. I think a pretty big reason for that is because of the main character Denji. He's just a guy that doesn't really give a shit, which isn't really common at all in shonen. Usually MCs end up being very ambitious, trying to be Hokage or Pirate King, or whatever the equivalent would be. Denji doesn't have any greater goal besides making a comfortable life for himself. He has that traumatic backstory, but it doesn't affect him the same way as other MCs. Denji doesn't just bounce back from it one day, and is just able to live with it. Even now he's still pretty fucked up from his childhood. He has really low expectations for his life, and doesn't expect much of it, risking his life for some pretty average quality of life luxuries, like jelly on toast. If it doesn't affect his life personally, he couldn't really care less about it. Denji not being charismatic, or really trying to get the most out of life is really out there, compared to other shonen. At one point he just stays in his apartment, only going out to buy more snacks, for the shows he watches all day, for either weeks or months, so it's pretty easy to latch onto his character, and find it refreshing. Eren shares the same qualities mostly, and you can see how influential Attack on Titan is. Shonen is definitely going in a new direction in the future, away from the old MC template. That's more or less all I have to say about the MC Shonen template though. If you enjoyed, watch my other video where I talk about the anime horror scene, or anything else that interests you. That's all though. Peace.